Listen carefully. No long introduction, no slow build-up. We're going straight into something that might change how you see your own mind. Because if you've ever sat down to work, only to realize 20 minutes later that you're watching random videos you never even intended to search for, this message is for you. And before anything else, understand this. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You are not weak. And you don't suffer from some mysterious, short attention span. What you are experiencing is something far simpler. Your mind is an untrained muscle trying to perform in an environment specifically designed to make it fail. Think about that for a moment. Every app you open, every notification you hear, every endless scroll you fall into was designed by teams of engineers, psychologists, and behavioral scientists. Their entire job is simple: capture your attention, hold it, and never let it go. They are paid based on how long they can keep you there. And they are extremely good at it. So when you sit down to focus on something important, studying, building something meaningful, working toward your future, you're not just fighting distraction. You're competing against systems that have been engineered for years to keep your mind occupied. Trying to win that battle with willpower alone is like trying to swim against a powerful current. No wonder it feels exhausting. But here is the truth most people never realize. Focus is not a personality trait. It is not something you either have or you don't. Focus is a trainable skill, just like strength, just like endurance, just like discipline. And when you train it correctly, something powerful begins to happen. Your mind becomes sharper. Your work becomes deeper. Your attention becomes something you control, instead of something that controls you. In this video, we are going to explore 6 powerful principles that change how your brain approaches attention. These are not quick productivity hacks. They are deeper than that. They are principles that reshape the way your mind operates over time. By the end of this video, you will begin to see your attention in a completely different way. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." He wasn't writing those words for an audience. He was reminding himself, a Roman emperor surrounded by power, responsibility, politics, war, and endless distraction. And even he had to constantly fight to guard his attention. If someone in his position needed that reminder, so do we. Now let's begin with the first principle. Let me ask you something simple. When was the last time you sat down to work and your phone stayed in another room the entire time? Not on silent, not face down on your desk, but completely out of reach. If that idea alone makes you feel slightly uncomfortable, that reaction tells you something important. Because the problem most people think they have, a weak mind, is actually something very different. Your brain is not the enemy. Your environment is. Inside your brain there exists something scientists call the salience network. This system evolved over hundreds of thousands of years. Its job is simple: detect change, notice movement, spot potential threats, recognize possible rewards. It is extremely fast. It operates automatically, and most of the time you aren't even aware it's happening. Thousands of years ago, this system helped humans survive. A sudden movement in the bushes could mean danger. A new sound in the distance might signal opportunity. Your brain learned to prioritize novelty and change. Now fast forward to the modern world. Every notification, every message alert, every red badge on an app, every endless scroll, these things activate that same ancient system. Your brain isn't malfunctioning when it gets pulled toward them. It's doing exactly what it evolved to do. The problem is that this system was designed for survival on the savannah, not for smartphones and social media. Research from Dr. Gloria Mark at UC Irvine revealed something shocking. After a single interruption, the average person needs more than 23 minutes to fully return to their previous level of focus. 23 minutes for one distraction. Now imagine how many interruptions happen in a normal day. A notification, a quick message, a glance at your phone, an email, a random thought that sends you online. Even 6 interruptions during a workday can fracture hours of concentration. You might sit at your desk all day, but mentally, you are never fully present. That's why many people finish their day feeling exhausted, yet strangely unproductive. They worked, but their attention never stayed in one place long enough to produce real progress. This is not a character flaw, it is a design problem. And the moment you see it that way, something changes. Instead of blaming yourself, you begin designing your environment. Researchers at the University of Texas found something even more surprising. Even when your phone is turned off and placed face down on your desk, your brain still spends energy resisting the urge to check it. Just knowing it is nearby reduces your available mental capacity. Your mind is partially occupied by it. That means something very simple becomes powerful. Putting your phone in another room is not just a physical change. It is a neurological one. Abraham Lincoln once said, "If I had 6 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend the first 4 sharpening the axe." Focus works the same way. Before you begin deep work, the first step is not effort. The first step is environment design. Remove distractions. Close unnecessary tabs. Turn off notifications. Create a space where your mind has fewer reasons to wander. Think of a surgeon entering an operating room. The environment is controlled. The tools are prepared. Nothing unnecessary is present. Why? Because the surgeon's only responsibility in that room is the surgery. Your work deserves the same level of intention. Design your environment carefully, or someone else will design it for you. For years, society promoted a dangerous myth. Multitasking. You've heard it before. Do more at once. Handle multiple things simultaneously. Juggle tasks. Stay busy. Be efficient. It became a badge of honor. Companies praised it. Job descriptions demanded it. Productivity culture celebrated it. But here's the truth. Multitasking is largely an illusion. Your brain does not actually perform multiple tasks at the same time. Instead, it switches rapidly between them, back and forth, again and again. And every switch comes with a cost. Psychologists call this the switch cost. Every time your brain moves from one task to another, it must disengage from one context and load a completely different one. That process consumes mental energy, and it slows you down. Research from the University of Michigan found that switching between tasks can increase the time required to complete work by up to 40%. Think about that. You might feel productive because you're constantly moving between tasks. But the reality is the opposite. You are slowing yourself down. Even worse, studies show something surprising. The people who multitask the most tend to be the worst at it. And ironically, they often believe they are the best. Because when your attention becomes fragmented for long periods of time, something begins to change inside your mind. Your brain becomes accustomed to surface-level engagement, quick scanning, short bursts of attention, shallow thinking. You become good at skimming information, but you lose the ability to go deep. And depth, is where the most valuable work happens. Think about the moments in your life where you produced something meaningful. A project you were proud of. A difficult problem you solved. A creative idea that turned into something real. Those moments almost never happen while jumping between notifications and tasks. They happen when the world fades away and your attention locks fully onto one thing. Bruce Lee once said, "Concentration is the root of all the higher abilities in man." That word, root, is important because everything else grows from it. Creativity, learning, problem solving, mastery, all of them depend on your ability to concentrate deeply. If the root is weak, the entire tree suffers. The solution is simple in concept but powerful in practice. Instead of multitasking, create singular focus sessions. One task, one goal, one block of time, nothing else. Start with 25 minutes if necessary. Use a physical timer. Remove distractions. And commit to giving that one task your full attention until the timer ends. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. Your brain will look for excuses to escape. It will suddenly remember emails, messages, random thoughts, urgent things that feel important. But if you stay with the work long enough, something interesting happens. Your mind begins to settle, ideas start connecting, momentum builds, and progress becomes visible. 90 minutes of deep focus often produces more meaningful work than an entire distracted day, not because you worked harder, but because you worked whole. There is something important you need to understand before trying to master focus. Your mind will wander, not occasionally, not sometimes, constantly. This is not a weakness. It is simply the nature of the human mind. Even people who have spent decades training their attention, monks, elite athletes, surgeons, artists, still experience moments where their thoughts drift away from the present moment. The difference is not that their minds stay perfectly still. The difference is what they do after the drift happens. Most people respond to distraction in one of two ways. The first response is to follow it. A thought appears, maybe something small, something harmless. You remember a message you forgot to answer. You think about checking something quickly online. One click becomes another, and suddenly 10 minutes disappear. The second response is frustration. You notice your attention drifting and immediately criticize yourself. You think something like, "Why can't I stay focused?" or "I always do this." The distraction becomes an emotional spiral. Both reactions waste energy. The real discipline is something much simpler. Notice the drift, then return. That is it. Over 100 years ago, the psychologist William James wrote something remarkable about this exact skill. He said the ability to voluntarily bring back a wandering attention again and again is the very foundation of character, judgment, and will, not productivity. Character. Think about what that means. Every time your mind drifts away and you guide it back to the task without anger, without frustration, you are strengthening that ability. It is like a repetition in the gym. 1 return equals 1 mental rep. 10 returns during a work session means 10 reps for your attention muscle. Over weeks and months, those repetitions accumulate. Gradually, something changes. Instead of feeling constantly pulled away from your work, your mind begins learning that drifting is temporary. Returning becomes faster, smoother, almost automatic. You stop fighting your attention. Instead, you train it. And that training quietly reshapes the way your mind operates. Many people approach focus as if it were purely Mental. They search for new productivity systems, new planning tools, new strategies to control their attention. But they ignore something fundamental. Your brain is not separate from your body. It is part of it. Focus depends on biology. If the body is exhausted, underfueled, or constantly stressed, the mind cannot perform at its best, no matter how strong your intentions are. Sleep is the most obvious example. When you sleep less than your brain needs, the area responsible for attention and self-control, the prefrontal cortex, begins to weaken. Your ability to filter distractions drops. Your patience decreases. Small interruptions suddenly feel impossible to resist. You may believe you are functioning normally, but neurologically, your brain is operating far below its full capacity. Neuroscientist Matthew Walker has studied sleep extensively, and his research shows something alarming. Sleeping only 6 hours per night for 2 weeks produces cognitive impairment similar to staying awake for 48 hours straight. And most people do not even notice the difference. They believe they are performing fine while their mental clarity quietly declines. Movement matters as well. Regular physical activity increases blood flow to the brain regions responsible for attention, memory, and decision-making. Even a short walk before beginning focused work can noticeably improve cognitive performance. Your brain also depends on stable energy. Highly processed foods and large sugar spikes create cycles of energy crashes that make sustained concentration extremely difficult. Hydration, balanced nutrition, and manageable stress levels all play a role in how well your brain can maintain focus. This is why discipline alone is never enough. Focus is not just a mental challenge. It is a physical one. Protect the body that supports your mind, and concentration becomes significantly easier. One of the biggest reasons people struggle to focus has nothing to do with discipline. It begins much earlier. It begins with indecision. Imagine sitting down at your desk in the morning without a clear plan. You have a general idea of what you should work on, but nothing specific. The task feels distant and undefined, so your brain searches for something easier to begin with. You open your email, you check messages, you respond to something small, and suddenly the day begins reacting instead of creating. Hours pass. You were busy the entire time, but the important work never moved forward. This pattern happens because the brain naturally seeks the easiest available path when no clear direction exists. Psychologists refer to this as decision fatigue. Every decision you make throughout the day consumes mental energy. The more decisions you make, the more your brain begins choosing the simplest option available. That usually means quick tasks with immediate feedback. Deep work, the kind that requires sustained attention and effort, gets pushed further and further away. Peter Drucker once observed something powerful while studying productivity. He noticed that people who schedule their important work consistently accomplish far more than those who leave their day open. What gets scheduled gets done. What remains vague gets postponed. The solution is simple. Decide before the day begins. Choose 1 to 3 tasks that truly matter. Assign them specific time blocks. Treat those blocks like appointments that cannot be canceled. When the time arrives, you no longer ask yourself what to do. You already know. This removes hesitation. It protects your most productive hours. And it ensures that your attention goes toward what actually moves your life forward. Clear decisions made in advance transform intention into action. And action, repeated daily, creates progress. There is a silent enemy of focus that almost nobody talks about anymore. Boredom. Not the dramatic kind. Not the kind where you feel miserable or restless for hours. The small, quiet moments where nothing interesting is happening. Waiting for the coffee machine. Standing in line. Walking somewhere. Sitting quietly before beginning a task. In the past, these moments were normal parts of daily life. They were spaces where the mind could slow down, wander, and settle. But today, those spaces have almost disappeared. Every small gap in time is filled instantly. A phone appears, a video begins, a message gets checked, music starts playing. We have trained ourselves to eliminate silence, and without realizing it, we have trained our brains to expect constant stimulation. When the brain becomes used to constant stimulation, slower activities begin to feel uncomfortable. Reading, studying, deep thinking. These tasks require patience. They do not deliver quick bursts of dopamine every 2 seconds. So the brain resists. The resistance feels like boredom, but that boredom is not the enemy. It is the doorway. Marcus Aurelius once wrote that nowhere can a person find a quieter refuge than within their own mind. Even 2,000 years ago, people struggled with distraction and inner restlessness. But today, the noise around us is far louder. Every app, every notification, every endless scroll competes for our attention. Learning to sit with boredom is how you reclaim control. Take a walk without listening to anything. Sit at your desk for a few minutes before beginning your work. Allow moments of quiet without reaching for your phone. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. Your mind will search for something to fill the silence. It will create reasons to escape. But if you stay there long enough, something changes. The restlessness fades. Your thoughts slow down. And gradually, a deeper level of focus becomes available. That quiet state is where some of your best thinking happens. Ideas connect. Problems resolve themselves. Creative solutions appear. Boredom, when you allow it to exist, becomes the training ground for deeper attention. Focus does more than improve productivity. It shapes the way you experience life itself. Researchers at Harvard conducted a large study where participants were asked simple questions throughout their day. What are you doing right now? And is your mind focused on that activity? The results were surprising. Nearly half of the time, people's minds were somewhere else. They were thinking about the past, worrying about the future, replaying conversations, or imagining different situations. And when their minds wandered, people reported feeling less happy, regardless of what activity they were doing. In other words, distraction does not only reduce productivity, it reduces the quality of your life. When your attention constantly drifts away from the present moment, you lose connection with what you are actually experiencing. A conversation becomes background noise. Work becomes mechanical. Even moments of rest feel incomplete. But when your attention is fully present, something different happens. Time feels slower. Your awareness becomes sharper. Ordinary moments begin to feel more meaningful. Stoic philosophers understood this long before modern psychology confirmed it. They believed that the mind must be trained to remain present with what is happening now, rather than being pulled endlessly by imagination and worry. Epictetus taught that much of human suffering comes from giving attention to things outside our control. Focus, in that sense, becomes a form of freedom. When you decide where your attention goes, you decide what occupies your inner world, and that decision shapes the way you experience every moment of your life. The beginning of your day is far more important than most people realize. Not because mornings are magical, not because successful people wake up earlier than everyone else. The real reason is much simpler. When you first wake up, your mind has not yet been pulled in 100 different directions. Your brain is clear, your attention is fresh, and for a short period of time, your thinking belongs entirely to you. But most people give that moment away immediately. The first thing they do after waking up is reach for their phone. Notifications appear, messages demand responses. Social media begins feeding them information they never asked for. Before they even step out of bed, their mind is already reacting to the world. Without realizing it, they have handed control of their attention to outside forces. And once that pattern begins, it often continues for the rest of the day. The morning sets the tone. If the day begins with reaction, the day usually remains reactive. But people who consistently produce meaningful work tend to treat the first hours of the day very differently. They protect them, not perfectly, but intentionally. Instead of immediately entering the noise of the world, they spend the beginning of the day focused on something that actually matters to them. It might be writing, planning, studying, building something important, thinking deeply about a problem. These activities require a clear mind, and the morning is when that clarity is most naturally available. Because later in the day, the world becomes louder. Emails arrive, messages appear, unexpected problems demand attention, meetings interrupt the flow of thought. Your attention becomes fragmented. But in the early hours, before all of that begins, you still have the opportunity to direct your mind toward meaningful progress. Even a single, uninterrupted hour in the morning can produce more real progress than several distracted hours later in the day. Because that hour belongs entirely to you, your thinking is sharper, your resistance is lower, and your ability to focus is naturally stronger. Protecting the first part of your day sends a powerful message to your brain. It says that your priorities matter, that your attention will not be given away automatically. And over time, that small daily decision compounds. Days become more intentional. Progress becomes more consistent. And instead of reacting to everything around you, you begin directing your own path forward. Look around at the world we live in today. Never before in human history has attention been so aggressively competed for. Every application on your phone, every website you visit, every platform you scroll through, all of them are designed with one primary goal in mind: to capture your attention and keep it there for as long as possible. Entire teams of engineers and psychologists study how the human brain responds to novelty, reward, and stimulation. Their job is to build systems that make it difficult to look away, and they have become incredibly effective at it. The result is a world where distraction is constant. Messages arrive every few minutes, notifications appear at random, content loads endlessly. Your attention is pulled in dozens of directions every hour. Most people move through this environment without even noticing it. They check their phone without thinking. They open apps out of habit. They switch tasks repeatedly throughout the day, and gradually, without realizing it, their ability to concentrate weakens. The mind becomes accustomed to short bursts of attention, quick stimulation, constant novelty. Deep thinking becomes rare. But this environment creates an unusual opportunity. Because when almost everyone is distracted, the ability to focus becomes incredibly valuable. The person who can sit down and work on one difficult task for an extended period of time develops an advantage that compounds every single day, not because they are smarter, not because they work more hours, but because when they show up to their work, they are fully present. They are thinking deeply. They are solving problems others avoid. They are building things that require patience and sustained effort. While others jump between tasks, never finishing anything meaningful, the focused individual moves steadily forward. Small progress happens every day, and over weeks, months, and years, that progress multiplies. Projects get completed, skills grow stronger, ideas become reality. This is why deep focus has become one of the rarest and most valuable skills of the modern era. And the powerful part is that it is completely trainable. No one is born with perfect concentration. It develops through repeated practice. Every time you protect your attention, every time you resist distraction, every time you choose to stay with the work instead of escaping it, you strengthen that ability. Little by little, your mind adapts. Your focus becomes deeper. Your thinking becomes clearer. And eventually, something remarkable happens. While the world around you grows louder and more distracted, your ability to concentrate becomes a quiet advantage that few people possess. An advantage that grows stronger every single day. Take a moment and think about everything we've talked about today. Your environment, your habits, your body, your decisions, your relationship with boredom. None of these things are random. They are all shaping one of the most powerful forces in your life, your attention. Because attention is not just about productivity. It is not just about getting more work done or finishing tasks faster. Attention shapes what you notice, what you learn, what you build, and ultimately, the direction your life begins to take. Where your attention goes, your life slowly follows. If your attention is constantly scattered, your progress becomes scattered too. Days feel busy, but empty. Time moves quickly, yet nothing meaningful seems to move forward. But when you begin protecting your attention, even in small ways, something changes. You start thinking more clearly. You begin finishing things. Your work gains depth. Your mind becomes calmer. And over time, those small shifts compound into something powerful. Because in a world designed to pull your mind in 1,000 different directions, the ability to stay focused has quietly become one of the rarest skills a person can develop. And rare skills always become valuable. The truth is, you don't need to master every principle we talked about today. You don't need to rebuild your entire life tomorrow morning. Real change almost never happens that way. Instead, choose one idea from this video that stood out to you. The one that felt slightly uncomfortable because it was true. Maybe it's protecting your environment from distraction. Maybe it's scheduling your most important work before the day begins. Maybe it's learning to sit with silence instead of reaching for your phone. Start there. Practice it consistently for the next 2 weeks. Not perfectly, just intentionally. Because real discipline is not built in dramatic moments. It grows quietly through small decisions, repeated every day. And those small decisions eventually shape the person you become. So protect your attention, guard it carefully, direct it toward things that actually matter. Because the person who learns to control their attention in this era gains something incredibly powerful: clarity, momentum, and the ability to build a life with intention instead of distraction. If something in this video helped you see your attention differently, let me know in the comments which principle resonated with you the most. Like the video if it gave you value. Share it with someone who might need to hear this today. And if you want more content like this, deeper ideas about discipline, stoicism, and mastering your own mind, make sure you subscribe. Thank you for staying focused all the way to the end. And remember this: your attention is your power. Protect it, train it, and use it wisely. I'll see you in the next video.